Does. But if you're like, okay, this weather is really crummy today, I'm not a fan of this, it's too cold, it's too windy, I've got some great news for you, because we're going to see a big time warm up by the middle part of the week, the end of the week, as we watch the warmth build into the northern tier, the Midwest today. It expands to the south and to the east tomorrow, and by Thursday, 241 million of us back to above average temperatures. Does this pattern sound familiar? We've seen it now for a couple of weeks, where we see a big warm up, we get some severe weather in parts of the south, the southern plains to the southeast, and then we see a cool down and some rain as we head towards the weekend. But in the meantime, we are going to be breaking or tying records, no question. Twin Cities over to St. Cloud, La Crosse, where our usual high, our average high this time of year is in the 40s. Instead, we're near 70 this afternoon. Lots of 60s and 70s on the map, including 75 for you in Dodge City, but things get even warmer as we head into tomorrow. So here's a look at the expansion of the warm weather for tomorrow. Now in parts of Oklahoma as well as Texas, where very likely we will see some 80 degrees in Texas, not just in Lubbock. Dallas, you're getting very close in some of the surrounding areas. And now we're watching the 70s expand into Atlanta, as well as Raleigh, Nashville, Chicago, really even close to 70 degrees, which is just wild when you think about March in Chicago. We can see all types of weather, and this week it is spring. Now our dome of high pressure towards the later half of the week is centered over the mid-Atlantic and the southeast. It's still going to be warm in places like Chicago, but now we're seeing the warm-up expand to the mid-Atlantic. We're seeing the warm-up expand into the northeast, which Buffalo, you just had lake effect snow this weekend, and by the later half of the week, we're talking 60s. Upper 50s, 60s for your highs. Now we will see a cool down towards the later part of the week for the Twin Cities, but in the meantime, 60s both today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, we see a cool down. Yes, our high will be near 50, but that's still well above average for this time of year. New York City, which is very cold this morning. A lot of our wind chills are in the 20s in the Big Apple this morning, but by Thursday, we are into the 70s. And I'm thinking, Jordan, Central Park, 70s, walking around. It sounds really nice.
It does sound nice until I start seeing.
Let's talk travel in the Northeast, because we're starting to see the problems slowly increase. And we were anticipating this morning. Doesn't make it any easier for your travel plans. But now we have problems at both LaGuardia and Newark, which, by the way, at Newark, we have a ground stop because of the wind. Look at these wind gusts, 50 to 60 miles per hour. The wind holding steady at 43. No question. That's why they're having so many problems this morning. Now we will see the wind be a problem throughout the day. So hopefully they can lift that ground stop if the wind gets a little bit lighter. And they likely will. But in the meantime, we're likely going to see airport delays at not only LaGuardia, which we already have a ground delay there, but also JFK, Boston, maybe even BWI and some of our Washington, D.C. airports, and then up towards Portland. And then, by the way, Burlington and Syracuse, not only do we have the wind problems, we also have snow that's still falling. We have all these turbulence reports. So look at this. This is what we were talking about. We've been talking about all morning long, where this is going to be a very difficult corridor for travel today. That's where we have some of the strongest wind speeds, and turbulence is going to be an issue as we go throughout the day. Not until we get later to this evening and through the overnight hours does the wind finally start to back off. So when you're traveling today, lots of patience is going to be needed. Even if you're not flying through one of these major cities, there's a lot of flights that originate from these cities, and you could see delays even if you're not even traveling anywhere close to here. Now, road-wise, travel is going to be difficult with high-profile vehicles, where we still have snow. Visibility could be an issue. And when we have the wind gusts to 45, which we easily have in a lot of areas today, not only is it difficult for high profile vehicles, but you could have some small objects that are blown around too, impacting your travel as well. Now, Jordan, it does feel like winter in the Northeast this morning, but it's nothing compared to what Denver is in store for the next couple of days.
And it's been such an interesting winter for us.
Welcome back into this Monday morning of America's Morning Headquarters. And it feels like a Monday, right? Especially if you're trying to travel in the Northeast, because it's becoming a headache very quickly. We have delays at LaGuardia and Newark, all thanks to the wind that's extremely strong this morning. There's a ground delay of about an hour and 30 minutes at Newark because of the wind gusting 50 to 60 miles per hour. Imagine that, trying to land a plane in that. It also depends on which direction the wind is coming from and, which way the runway is going. But we also have a ground delay at LaGuardia over an hour, and it's been that way for the last hour and a half or so. A lot of patience will be needed. We could also see some delays. Boston, Philly, JFK, Portland, BWI, our DC airports, Syracuse, Burlington, all thanks to the system that's swirling its way out of the Northeast today, but the wind remains, and the wind remains throughout the day. A lot of turbulence reports over the 95 corridor right now. That's where we have some of the strongest wind speeds, and they'll continue to be there for at least the next couple of hours. By later this afternoon, later this evening, some of those winds will start to move offshore, and that should help improve things just a little bit travel-wise. But it's likely going to be one of those days when you're getting on the airplane that they give you snacks and water before you even sit down, because it's just too dangerous for the flight attendants to walk around. It's also going to be difficult travel out on the roadways, and power outages, those continue to climb too. Steph?
It seems like we've been in spring severe.